Welcome to the TRX for Tennis Performance. We're going to teach you the most effective tennis-related exercises using the TRX and give you detailed instructions on how to modify them to suit your player's needs. In addition, we'll show you footwork and conditioning drills that you can use to enhance your workouts. We've collaborated with former collegiate tennis coach and recent recipient of the IDEA Personal Trainer of the Year Award, Justin Price. Justin is also a recognized expert in the field of corrective exercise, and we're excited to have him present the TRX tennis workout.
Thanks, Fraser. I was introduced to TRX a couple of years ago, and I was immediately impressed with it, and I began using it with my clients. It's an excellent tool to elevate tennis performance because it increases flexibility, speed, strength, and mastery of one's own body weight, all requirements to the game. If you're new to using the TRX, please watch the setup and usage segment to familiarize yourself with it. The exercise library is the most important section of this DVD. It's composed of detailed commentary on progressions and regressions of each exercise for beginner to advanced athletes, and footwork drills you can include in your workout for greater conditioning. After you've digested the exercise library, do the real-time workout. It's a mid-range sequence with all the exercise and footwork drills that you can adapt to suit your player's needs. The first half of the workout focuses on increasing the flexibility and strength of the shoulder girdle and includes footwork drills that enhance total body performance. The second half of the workout is designed to increase speed, power, and agility. Again, be sure to watch the exercise library before you get started or whenever you have any questions in order to get the most out of the program. There's a lot of material here, so get ready for big results. Thanks for watching and enjoy.
To properly set up your TRX suspension trainer, try anchoring it to any secure point that will support your body weight. Examples of this are tree branches, railings, posts, weight racks, or chin-up bars. Your anchoring point should be 7 to 9 feet off the ground and be strong enough to support you. Try wrapping the TRX suspension trainer around your anchor point several times to reduce any lateral movement. Fasten a black carabiner at the end of the suspension anchor between the black bar tacks at the appropriate interval for your anchor point. Or you can clip the carabiner directly over the TRX. The bottom of the foot cradles should be 3 to 4 inches off the ground when the TRX is fully lengthened. Also, always be sure to weight test the TRX to make sure you've got a solid anchor point before you get into your workout. To lengthen out the TRX suspension trainer, grab onto both cam buckles, push in the thumb tabs, and simply pull it to the desired length. When it's time to shorten the TRX, grab onto the cam buckle again, push in the thumb tab, and grab onto the yellow adjustment tab. And then you can shorten it up by simply pulling back, like you'd pull in a bow and arrow. We repeat that on the other side, cam buckle, thumb tab, adjustment tab, and pull it up. And now you've shortened your TRX. Many of the exercises that you can do with the TRX can also be done in single handle mode. Now, in order to configure the TRX into single handle mode, simply hold one handle over top of the other and pass the bottom handle through the top. Now be sure to switch hands and take this bottom handle again, passing it through the top and locking it down tight so you create a bit of a mustache out of the webbing. Now you're configured in single handle mode and you're ready to do any of those exercises that require this configuration. The TRX was designed to make small, easy adjustments in length to add to the enjoyability of your workout. It was never designed as a pulley, so if you're going to slide the handles from side to side like that, you're going to prematurely wear out your suspension anchor, and it's to be avoided. So just remember, never use your TRX as a pulley. If you're working out inside, you can use a door as your anchor point if you own the TRX door anchor accessory. To work off any standard height door, simply remove the suspension anchor from the TRX. Now to do this, you just have to pass that end loop all the way over top of the buckle down to the handle, fold that handle over, and then pass it all the way off so the suspension anchor is completely removed. Now you can grab onto that door anchor and reverse the process, putting it over top of the handle, over the buckle, and then all the way to the center of the TRX. Now you're ready to work out off of any door in your house. The most secure way to use a TRX door anchor is on a door that opens away from the room you'll be training in. Here I can put it up and over top of the door, it tightly, making sure that I weight test it. When I work out, the TRX is actually going to pull the door shut, making a very secure workout. Now I can do any TRX exercise while working out inside off of the door and get a great workout. If you must train on a door that opens into the room that you'll be working out in, simply take the TRX door anchor and slide it all the way to the hinge side of the door before latching the door tight, making sure it's secure. Now I'll be able to do movements like this steep back row without flexing the door open, and I can really get a great workout all working off the door in my house. The door anchor should only be used on solidly constructed doors that can support your entire body weight. Do not use this accessory on sliding glass doors, or lightweight closet doors. Before starting your workout, always place a doorknob warning placard on the other side of the door to prevent someone from opening the door while you're exercising.
Fitness Anywhere also offers a variety of anchoring solutions available on our website. These include the X-mount, the multi-mount, and a suspension frame.
When exercising using the TRX, one of the most important things to think about is to always keep tension on it the entire time. I'm going to use this squat row to show you what I mean. As I squat and row up, I'm keeping good tension all the way through it, maximizing my workout and really keeping resistance consistent. If I were to start dropping down and coming up, creating a lot of slack in the TRX, there's not only a big dead point in the movement and am I shock loading the TRX, but I'm really not maximizing my workout. And that's exactly what we want to do. So make sure while you're exercising, always keep tension on the TRX. If you're new to the TRX or just coming off of an injury, you may want to add some security to some of the TRX exercises. And a great way to do this is by using a technique we call leg spotting. Now I'm going to use this chest press to show you it. I could do this movement from a bilateral stance, but if I wanted to add more security, simply using my front leg here in front, offsetting my feet, allows me to push my way out of the bottom, helping spot the hard section of the movement. That's leg spotting, and it's very valuable if you're new to the TRX or just coming off of those injuries. We've talked a lot at our courses and in our DVDs about the offset foot position, but I'd like to expand on that a little bit. We use the offset foot position in movements that have a really wide displacement or are big long actions that require a double pivot point. The best way to do it is find the end range of the action that you're going to be using. In this case, it's the T-fly, and then we can set our offset around that. I can lower back. In this case, my back foot is really going to help me out of the bottom of the action, and then I roll onto my front foot to keep tension on all the way through, so the top of the movement is just as hard as the bottom of it. I can use it for other actions too. Another great one is this swimmer's pole. Here, again, I find my end position, I set my offset around that, and now I can roll back and drive all the way up and through, allowing me to keep tension right through that great big long movement. One of the things that you might find with that offset foot position is with someone who's less conditioned, you can actually move them back. Now in this case, if I had a bilateral stance and I came up, at the top of the action, I'd experience slack in the TRX. By using an offset, it allows me to come all the way up and through and keep tension on all the way along. We can also even step into that offset. Using the swimmer's pole again, I can step right through into the offset and step back, again keeping tension all the way through the movement. This is a great and powerful tool that you use for any of those big long movements. When suspending your heels in a TRX, the easiest way to do it is take two fingers and put them in the bottom of each foot cradle. Roll right back onto your back, lift both feet up, and drop your heels deeply into the foot cradles, extending out, and now you're set to do any of the suspended exercises with your heels in the TRX. When suspending your toes in the TRX, first you want to make sure you adjust it so that the bottom of the foot cradles are about 8 to 12 inches from the ground. Then, sitting in front, grab onto both handles and separate the TRX to make things very clear. Take your right toe, put it into the left foot cradle, and drop this knee out to make sure you've got good counterforce. Now take the left toe, cross over the top, put it into the right foot cradle, point your toes, and roll in that direction. Now you're in a great position to do any of the exercises you may want to do with your toes suspended in the TRX.
A key principle of progression while using the TRX is something we call the pendulum principle. And it works like this. Gravity acts on the TRX, pulling it straight up and down, and we call this the neutral position. Now, if I were to pull the TRX in front of neutral, that means gravity is going to be swinging away, really making it difficult for the user if he positions himself here. Alternatively, I can make my body go behind this neutral position. That way, as I do the exercise, gravity is going to assist me pulling the TRX toward me. Now, I'm going to show you this using this hamstring curl. So as I lie down, position my heels in the TRX, I can set up so that the TRX is directly in that neutral position. And that's going to give me a certain amount of resistance as I do this hamstring curl. Now, if I want to regress the action, moving it back, making the exercise more accessible to those of a lesser fitness level, I've moved back now. You can see the TRX is behind neutral, and you can feel that it swings into my body as I do that. If I want to make it more difficult, slide my body out. Now I'm positioned in front of the neutral position. As soon as I elevate my hips, I can really feel the TRX pulling against me, gravity really working against me, making the exercise much, much more difficult. That's a great way for you to adapt your body position to suit any exercise level. It's called the pendulum principle. The principle of instability is a great way to manipulate a movement to emphasize either strength or stability, depending upon what we're trying to get at. I'm going to use this chest press to show you what I mean. Taking this wide stance, I give myself the maximum amount of stability, which means I can really emphasize strength. Taking this deep position, straight down and straight up. Now, as I narrow my stance and come a little bit more shallow, this is going to emphasize stability. Really, it's just the idea of controlling my base of support and my center of gravity. With this narrow stance, I make it a little bit more difficult to manage my movement. Now I can make that harder still simply by lifting one leg off the ground. Now I've moved my center of gravity outside my base of support, and my core is having to manage a rotational force. I can make that even harder still by taking a wide angle with my leg, enhancing that rotational force, and really challenging the stability that I have to have while I'm doing that exercise. The principle of instability is a great way to take those exercises and adapt them so you can really get at exactly what you're looking for. One of the best ways to adjust the difficulty level of almost any TRX exercise is to use something called vector resistance. It's really the idea of the steeper your body angle, the more difficult the exercise is, and the more shallower, the easier. And this allows you to change exercises to suit any ability level. I'll use this back row to show you. Using this shallow angle, this back row is very appropriate for almost anybody who's even deconditioned or rehabilitative. Now, as I go into a little steeper of a position, I can turn the same movement into something that's much more performance-oriented and very much more difficult. By changing those foot positions, you can on the fly adjust resistance if you're getting tired, or make sure that your clients have got the right resistance just for them. It's incredibly powerful and a great way to adjust the difficulty level of almost any exercise. Suspension trainers will sometimes find themselves exercising in a position that's so steep that they actually can't stabilize. What will happen is their hands will come too low and they'll complain of the TRX digging in or rubbing against their arms. It's certainly uncomfortable, but there's an easy fix. All they need to do is bring their position so it's slightly more shallow and raise their hands a little bit. This will keep the TRX off their arms and they'll be able to do that exercise without any rubbing whatsoever. It's a great way to alleviate the problem. I'm sure you'll find that it works well for you.
This exercise is called the reverse isolated L, and it's part of 3 exercises that help work the internal rotator cuff muscles. You're going to start, Candace, with your arms forward, and then if you could just step forward as your arms rotate. Great. What she's doing here is eccentrically working the internal rotator cuff muscles. So the supraspinatus that come from the scapula over to the front of the shoulder, she's working those eccentrically as she decelerates into this, transferring weight to her front foot. She's also working the subscapularis, which comes from underneath the shoulder blade into the arm, as she again eccentrically loads it, which is great for tennis because a lot of people, as they come forward, say like for a high forehand volley, the shoulder tends to come forward, which places stress on the front of the shoulder, the traps may shrug up, so she may end the day with tight shoulders or a impingement or some kind of pain at the front here. If she wants to progress this, she can take a shorter step back and rotate forward. You feel a little bit more stress there? Good. And if you could just tuck your chin in a little bit more, you want the line of sight perpendicular to the spine, so it's not going up like this. And she's doing that great right now. If she wants to increase this difficulty, bring the 2 feet together, and that's going to make it very difficult, so just nice and easy. And you can see that as she does this, because there's a little more strain, her elbows are wanting to go back. That's a common problem that we do not want to see. As the elbows go back, the shoulder tends to rotate forward. We're looking for that big eccentric load. Great. You can coach through keeping the elbows forward as she comes into this. Another thing you're looking for is that she doesn't go into extension in her lumbar spine. So if you could just posteriorly tilt the pelvis for us, great. Feel the abs grab a little bit more? Beautiful. And as she did that, you saw her elbows sneak back. So try to stay posteriorly tilted and keep those elbows by the side. And you feel a lot of load in the front of that shoulder. Yeah. And now if you can depress the scapula with the lower trap, so keep those shoulder blades down and chin in. Beautiful. Let's do a couple more so you really feel that. Excellent. This exercise is the reverse isolated W, another great exercise for working the rotator cuff muscles, especially the internal rotators. And let's just rotate into this. So she's working the internal rotators eccentrically, great for those high forehand volleys, overhead smashes. She has her foot forward to help decelerate this so she doesn't have too much stress. Perfect. She's got her lower traps engaged so she doesn't shrug. In this 90-degree abductor position, the traps will be engaged, but a lot of people over shrug. So if you see them shrugging up, just tell them to engage their lower traps. Her head positioning is great, and just keeping those elbows up, shoulders down, and she's rotating through this pivot point, through her shoulders, through to her glenoid. Great. Another exercise, or another key point you want to make sure is that she stays posteriorly tilted. And step back for me. And this makes it a little more difficult. And you can see what happened is she arched her back a little bit more. So if this is difficult for her to maintain this posteriorly tilted position to a neutral spine, you would then bring her foot back out. And let's see if we can go to the full progression. This is going to be very difficult. Good. Maybe do a shortened range of motion. Good. And come forward. And if you feel more confident, you're going to get them to go all the way back. And then again, we're seeing this lumbar spine hyperextend. So I'm going to bring her foot forward. And that's a better position for her to be in. She's got much more control of that because you've got to get this technique perfect. And that's the reverse isolated W. This is the reverse isolated I. And for this exercise, the TRX is fully extended. If you can just flex the shoulder girdle, great. And she's going to step forward, and as she does that, the arms go behind her. Candice is doing a great job of engaging her lower traps so she does not excessively shrug. If you need to, come in front of your client to see if one of the shoulder girdles is rising. If they are, have them engage the lower trap on that side. Also, Candice is making sure that she doesn't go into too much lumbar extension. If she was, I would coach her to posteriorly tilt her pelvis. So let's progress this and take a little bit of a step back. And that's still good. She's not going into extension through her lumbar spine. Her head positioning is good. Try not to extend your head too far forward. Beautiful. And let's go fully back into the most difficult position. And this exercise is great for smashes, high volleys. She's getting a great flexibility through the lats and learning to decelerate force through her shoulder girdle. Just posteriorly tilt a little bit more. Feel your abs grab a little bit more. Perfect. And that's the reverse isolated I. This is the isolated L. It's part of 3 exercises that help work the external rotator cuff muscles. If you can just go into the position for us. She starts with her elbows by her side and the TRX system fully extended. Now Candice is just transferring her weight from front foot to back foot, and she's pulling through the external rotator cuff muscles, the infraspinatus and the teres minor, which go from the end of the arm to the scapula, and she's just pulling on those to retract the arm. She's doing a great job of not pulling back through the elbows. All she's doing is rotating the end of the humerus back into the shoulder girdle. To make this more difficult, she would step forward so her weight's on both feet. She's starting to get a little lumbar extension, so I'm going to teach her to posteriorly tilt or to tuck her hips under. And it's getting a little more difficult. You can see she's starting to shrug. So if you can engage your lower traps a little bit more, beautiful. To make this the most difficult, she would then go into a steeper stance. So walk both feet forward. This is going to be very difficult. I may help her a little bit. Great. Don't pull back through your elbows. I'm just going to help her with her body weight. If it's too difficult, we'll go back to the other stance. But she's doing a good job of this. Keep your shoulders down. Her head positioning is great. Thank you. And that's the isolated L. This is the isolated W, another exercise for helping work the external rotator cuff muscles. Candace is starting with her elbows up, and if you can take a step back, great. And she's decelerating with those muscles, the external rotators, so the infraspinatus and teres minor that come from the shoulder girdle into the end of the arm. And she's using those to rotate the arm back. You've got to make sure she keeps tension on the system, which she's doing a great job of here. She's got a little bit of excessive lordosis, so we're going to tuck that pelvis under. Great. To make this more difficult, put your foot forward for us. Another thing she's doing great is she's keeping her lower traps engaged so she doesn't excessively shrug. Obviously the upper traps are going to work here because she is abducted, but we want to make sure she doesn't excessively shrug. And she's keeping tension on the system. Just go forward a little bit more. This is going to be the most difficult. I may help her a little bit with her body weight if it's too difficult. And this exercise is great for those high backhand volleys, slice backhands, anytime the arm is high and she's got to stabilize the shoulder girdle. And one more, great. And that is the isolated W. This is the isolated I, another great exercise for working the posterior shoulder. As you'll note, the TRX is fully extended. If you can just go into the exercise, she's in full shoulder flexion, a little bit of a split step. Great. As she comes back into full shoulder flexion, I'm ensuring that her shoulder girdle stays down. Obviously, she's going to shrug slightly as her upper traps engage. I want to make sure she doesn't excessively shrug. I'm going to come behind to check the shoulder girdle. A lot of right-handed tennis players who have problems in the rotator cuff may shrug on this exercise. So coach them to depress through engaging the lower trap on the side that is shrugged. If you can put the foot forward to make it a little more difficult. As you saw, she's starting to go extension in the lumbar spine. So I'm going to coach her to posteriorly tilt a little bit more. Great. Now she's in extension in the thoracic spine. This exercise is fantastic for those high backhand shots or overhead smashes. If you can step forward a little bit more. This steeper foot position is going to make it very difficult, so I may coach her. And you can see here she's really going into extension in the lumbar spine. I want thoracic extension, so come back, tilt the pelvis a little bit more. Great, and now she's getting extension here and working that posterior shoulder. And that is the isolated I. This is the forehand lunge. We've converted the TRX to the single-handed mode and it is fully extended. Candace extends her arm and then steps forward with the opposite leg. Great. She's rotating the trunk and looking where she would contact the ball as though she was hitting a forehand. She's rotating the opposite arm to increase trunk rotation. Beautiful. As she goes into the lunge, I'm going to have her posteriorly tilt that back pelvis. So tilt, great. Tilt a little bit more posteriorly on that back hip. That's going to put an eccentric load on this hip flexor to help spring her back out of that, to create more power in the forehand shot. So great rotation, great power through the hips and legs. Excellent, and that's the forehand lunge. This is the backhand lunge. The TRX is fully extended and converted to the single-handed mode. Candace is going to start with her arm extended as she steps forward with the same arm. She does not rotate her eyes on this one because obviously her eyes are going to look for the ball, but she is rotating that shoulder, which is going to create great trunk rotation for a very powerful backhand. Again, on that back hip, if she is going in too much of extension in her spine, I'm going to get her to posteriorly tilt so she can eccentrically load that hip flexor to power out of it to create a great backhand. She's doing a nice job on this. I'm making sure she's got good alignment through her knee and her hip. One more. Beautiful. And that's the backhand lunge. This is the forehand to overhead smash. The TRX is in the single-handed mode and fully extended. We're going to start in a fully shoulder flex position with a lateral side flexion, and I'm going to pull those hips to me so she gets a big stretch through these lats and obliques on this right side. She's now going to rotate into a forehand position and extend back into that overhead smash position, getting a nice stretch, freeze, hips to me, excellent. And down, using that right glute to propel out of this into the overhead smash. This is great for a in a tennis shot if you have to go low to high, using the glutes to propel up and stretching out the obliques, the lats into that overhead smash position. That's great flexibility and strength from forehand to an overhead shot. And that is the forehand to overhead smash. This is the low to high volley reach. The TRX system is fully extended and in the single handle mode. Candice is going to start with her feet together and rotate her right arm across her body. She's going to lunge down low left, high right. This is as if she was going down for a low volley and then having to propel up for a high volley or a smash. Great. So she's low right, high left, low left, high right. To progress this, she can take the other leg off. So let's take the right leg off the ground. She may not squat as far because this is very difficult. This requires balance and strength. A lot of strength through the glutes, her foot's working, a lot of proprioception going on, and squat down, using that glute to propel, beautiful, low left, high right, creating flexibility and strength for great work around the net. And that is the low to high volley reach. This is the forehand to backhand trunk rotation. The TRX is fully extended and still in the single handle mode. I'm going to have Candice create tension on the system as she steps forward with her arm by her side. She's in a forehand, rotating to backhand, pivoting on the hips, creating great speed and flexibility through the hips, using those glutes to power out of the forehand, out of the backhand. This is one of my favorite exercises because it combines speed, flexibility, and coordination. Candice has got great footwork. You can notice she's pivoting on the foot. She's using her propulsion through her hips to pivot. Excellent. And that's the forehand to backhand trunk rotation. This is the rotating power jump. I'm going to have Candice face the TRX, bring the TRX to her sides. She's going to step back with her right leg as she rotates to the left. Then she's going to change feet. Step forward with the right, step back with the left and rotate. This is great for helping you set up for the backhand and for the forehand. So she's creating flexibility through the trunk and starting to create stability and strength through her hips. As she progresses, you can make this into a little bit of a jump. So as you change, jump, that's a big progression and the heart rate's going to go up. Pause for a second. Now let's rotate the other way. So now rotate away, great, and rotate away. So this is going to help with the follow-throughs. Great, and let's turn that into a jump as well. So you can do both foot positions and progressing to a jump. And that creates a lot of power and strength for both the forehand and backhand. Thank you. And that's the rotating power jump. This exercise is the power forehand drill. Again, the TRX system is fully extended and in the single handle mode. I'm going to have Candice grab the foot cradles. She's going to prop on her right leg as the left leg goes back as she extends and rotates forward into the forehand. Her eyes follow where the ball would be. So she's propping, watching with her eyes to create power to come forward into a forehand. This is a great exercise for creating power for a forehand. To progress it, I'm going to have her take her left foot off the ground. That loads that glute much more. Let's keep that left leg off the ground, no touching with the left leg. Good. The squat may be less here because there's a lot more force into that right glute. Good. Let's do a couple more and really power through using that right glute to produce power. And that is the power forehand drill. This is lateral and sagittal plane court sprints. Candice starting with her right foot on the outside doubles line to the singles line, and now she's going side to side steps to the service line. This is great for producing speed, power across the baseline when you're hitting forehand to backhand. She's going to go all the way to this doubles line, then all the way to the far doubles line, then turn into a sagittal plane motion. So she's going to run forwards, touch, good, then to the service line, then she's going to back pedal, good, and forward to me. Great, great, great. Touch, so she's having to decelerate, then produce power. Running back as though she's going back for a smash. Coming forward, last one. Sprint, 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 sprint. Great. And that is fantastic for getting the heart rate up. This is the 6-point court drill. Candice is going to start the baseline, grab a ball, run out to where the singles line meets the net. She's going to backpedal as fast as she can. She's creating power now through her quads. Now she's going to sprint out, place it where the service line meets the singles line. Now she's going to sidestep, baseline meeting the singles line. Now she's going to grab the ball and go again, as fast as she can. She's decelerating, having to balance to place that tennis ball exactly where it needs to go. Now she's decelerating and now creating power again to go out to where the service line meets the singles line. And she's back. Now she's going to move laterally to where the singles line meets the baseline. And now she's going to touch the racket and go pick them all up again. Go, 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 go. Right now her heart rate is really elevated. This is a very anaerobic exercise. It's very difficult. Great. And let's go grab where the service line meets the singles line. And you can see she's starting to slow. This is difficult. So start off slowly with your clients. Excellent. She's got 3 balls to go. It is very important that those tennis balls stay on that racket, so she has to decelerate to balance. Beautiful. She's got 2 balls to go. Let's turn and go. Here we go. Let's go, 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 go. And you can see the quads are getting very tired now. She's got 1 to go. She's done a great job. All the balls have stayed on the racket, and she's done. Great job. This is purely a sagittal plane court sprint. Candace is going to run down all the way to the net. She's going to sidestep, back step all the way to the baseline. She's then going to sidestep to the service notch as fast as she can to the net, sidestep to the singles line. This is great for producing power, speed in the sagittal plane. So going forwards and backwards. So forward to the net and then backwards to the baseline. This is the 2 shuffle footwork drill. Candace is going to take 2 steps to the side, reach out. This is great for creating speed and power across the baseline. Out to the side, good. Back to center, she's following my hands. Out to the side, so she's responding to the ball. So it's great for coordination. And out to the side, footwork, lateral movement, and responding to an external stimulus. Having to track out to the side and watching my hands. Good. And let's speed it up. Out to the side, good. Back to center. Out to the side, good. Back to center, out to the side. Let's do 5 more. So she's getting tired, her heart rate's going up. She's getting good footwork laterally across the baseline. 2 more. Back to center. 1 more. Great, and back to center. Excellent, her heart rate's up high. This is side-to-side footwork drill with tennis balls. I'm going to have Candace go out as though she's hitting a forehand. She's stepping across her body. I'm then going to have her go to a backhand. Good. She's having to track the tennis ball just as she would in tennis, and she's having to respond to my creation of where it's going. Come forward, meet that tennis ball nice and early. So if she starts to back up, I'm going to have her cut that tennis ball off. Great. Looking for the right angle. Great. She's creating speed and power across the baseline, hitting forehands and backhands. And I'm going to speed it up. Good. A little faster. Here we go. Cut it off. Come forward. We're going to do 5 more. Good. 1. Good. Keep coming forward. Power out of those glutes to the next ball. Good. 2 more. Good. Last one. Here we go. Go wide, and back to me, and back to center. Great. And that's a fantastic exercise for getting the heart rate up and working her glutes and getting her to move laterally for great speed between forehand and backhand on the baseline. Good work. This is singles line to doubles line footwork drill. Candace is going to leap from the singles line to the doubles line all the way down, using her arms to create propulsion, deceleration, acceleration, and then all the way back. Good. Using her arms, squatting down as low as she can, all the way. She can do 2 sets as she gets better. Great. And that's great for creating power and speed laterally and forward on the tennis court. Hello, we're here in Golden Gate Park in beautiful San Francisco to do the TRX tennis workout with Candace. The first part of this workout is going to consist of strengthening the shoulder girdle. We're going to throw some court sprints and footwork in to help improve her footwork, coordination, and get her heart rate up. For those of you who are perhaps beginners or not advanced athletes like Candace, you may want to leave out the footwork and court sprints because it's going to really elevate the heart rate. The second part of this workout, we're going to go into more dynamic exercise to improve strength, flexibility, and speed. And that's where we're really going to start to work hard. So we're going to get started and we're going to warm Candace up with some squat rows. Great, and here we go. She's got her feet forward, she's squatting back, extending the hips. This is just warming up her glutes, her back muscles. She's keeping her head in line with her spine. She's doing a great job. Try not to extend through your spine. She's going to posteriorly tilt her pelvis a little bit more to activate those glutes so she goes into full extension. She's doing 12 of these. She's counting to help me out. Great.
Nice.
Good. Couple more, and then we're going to go into a lunge with a step up. Great, and let's go into a lunge. And she's driving through, using that left glute. She's getting a hip flexor stretch on the right side, great job. She's going to do 12 on this side and then switch to the other side. So this is starting to warm up the hips a little bit more. For those of you who want to advance, you could grip the TRX with one hand, but we're going to stay with two hands for the warm-up. Great, how many is that? 11. One more and let's switch sides. Good, and she's getting a nice hip flexor stretch. Make sure that you posteriorly rotate the pelvis as you come down. It'll activate that glute and push the left hip into extension, so you really get a nice hip flexor stretch. And she's leading with her head nicely. It's in line with the spine. So this is a great way just to get the blood supply going to the periphery, elevating the heart rate. And we've got one more to go. And now we're going to go into trunk rotation, and we're going to do 12 of those as well. Great, and Candice, you're going to keep your eye focused on that forward hand, rotating the back hip up. Beautiful. This is really starting to warm up the trunk rotators, the obliques, the hips. She's starting to open up the hips for all the rotary work we're going to do. She's going to do 12 either side for a total of 24. Great. And just make it a little more dynamic, so a little more speed. Really rotate, good, and rotate, good, and rotate. Excellent. Keep going for 24 total. Good job. Really starting to create a little more speed, warming up for coordination. Good, beautiful. And one more. And now let's go into the reverse isolated L. So this is the first exercise for the shoulder girdle. And we're going to combine this in the rest period with some court sprints. Let's start off nice and easy, having the foot come forward. Great. Keep the elbows forward, making sure you're rotating. So nice eccentric work through the front of that shoulder. Great. Good. Just keep those elbows forward. And just posteriorly tilt a little bit for me. Good. So now she's engaging those abdominals a little bit more. And on this one, she's got 12 as well. And two more. Good. Last one. Now we're going to go into the first court sprint, which is the lateral sagittal court sprint. Great. Side to side. And here we go. Good. As fast as you can. This is going to get your heart rate really high. So for those of you at home who don't feel quite confident, just be careful as you add these into your workout. But for those of you who feel like you're an advanced athlete, add these in and really work hard. Excellent. Good. And now come on back. Forward now to me. Good. And scooch back, yes, and forward again. All the way. Drive those arms and legs. Good. And touch. And now backwards. Good, 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 good. All the way and touch. And then sprint right the way through. Good, good. Drive home. Good, good. Excellent. We're going to take a little break before we set up for our second set of the reverse isolated L. How do you feel, okay? Good. Good work. You really worked hard on that. That was good.
Thanks.
So this is our second set. Let's go into it now. Let's make this one a little more difficult if you feel confident with it, and keep those feet together. Good. And really keep those elbows dry by the sides. Just engage those lower traps a little more so you don't shrug. Good. Keep a little more tension on the TRX. Good. You got it. Great. And we're going to do 12 on this again, okay? Good. Posteriorly tilt a little bit more just to get those abs engaged in this. Starting to feel the front of those shoulders?
Yeah.
Good work. Perfect. Feel your abs grab each time you come forward? Good. And let's take a little break. How do you feel?
Good.
You okay?
Yeah.
That exercise is fantastic for eccentrically strengthening the internal rotator cuff muscles. Well, if you're going for a forehand or a high forehand volley, a lot of tennis players get shoulder problems because when they go to raise the arm, they actually internally rotate at the shoulder, the scapula elevates, and they get trap problems. So you see a lot of tennis players walking around like this, and you see a lot of them after the game massaging their shoulder. So these first 6 exercises, the shoulder exercises, are fantastic for helping stabilize and rehabilitate shoulder or rotator cuff problems. So let's set up for the next exercise and go into the reverse isolated W. Great. You feel okay?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go into it. Great. And when you step forward, I want you to tilt that. That's great. Perfect. And you'll get a little stretch in the front of that hip. You'll get a little calf stretch. But the main area of emphasis here is these internal rotator cuff muscles. So you feel that load at the front of the shoulder? Great. And you'll get a little pec stretch as well. Her head positioning is great. Her line of sight is perpendicular to her spine, so she's making a great job here. And we're doing 12 here as well. I'm just coaching her to keep those elbows up so the rotation happens through here. Excellent. Now we're going to go into our next court sprint. This is the 6-point court sprint. So she's going to place these balls out. And let's go. Perfect. Back to me. Good, 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 good. You're going to grab the next ball. Head out to that short line. Good. Back to me. Make sure you grab each ball when you come back. I want to make sure each ball stays on that racket. Good. Go, 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 go. Fast as you can. Great job. Good. Bending at the hips. We want those glutes to work, so keep the hips down. That's it. Good. And push off using the glutes. And push off. Good. One more. Come to the side and down and touch. Great job. Let's come back and let's go into the reverse isolated W again. Just take your time. I know that heart rate's high. And here we go. We've got about 3 seconds. Great, so let's make this a difficult one. So our feet are together and make sure you posteriorly rotate that pelvis. So those abs grab. Good job. Good. Perfect. And her head positioning is great. Really tilt that pelvis. She's wanting to go into lumbar extension. If your clients go too much into lumbar extension, just have them put their foot forward so there's not too much stress on their lower back. Good job. And rotating around those elbows, keep those elbows up. Good, elbows up. Good, and we're doing 12 total. Last one, and let's take a break. So this is a more difficult exercise, and you can see the demand was a little more difficult than keeping those elbows up, yet the shoulders down, so she's rotating correctly. So it's a tough exercise, right? The reverse isolated L is easier, so have your clients begin here and then progress to the reverse isolated W. And if this is still too difficult, just head back down to the L until you slowly think they can progress here. You may need to supplement that with some exercise to strengthen their lower traps so they actually can keep great shoulder function and they rotate around the shoulder. Excellent. We're now going to go into the reverse isolated I. And let's start this one off easy, so let's do a foot step forward. Good. And let's go. And let's do 12 from here. Good. As she comes forward, she's a lot better on this one. It's a little easier, so she's not going to extension through here. I'm going to coach her to keep her lower traps engaged. She's pretty good. As people raise their arms, obviously the upper traps are going to engage. But she's doing a great job of keeping them depressed. She's getting great lat stretch. Good. One more. Good. And let's go straight into our court sprint, which is our forward-backward court sprint. I really want you to push her on this one. Let's go. Forward. Go, 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 go. Good. And to the side, and back to me, fast as you can. Push off those toes, and then turn and go. Use those arms, drive those arms, 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 arms. Good. And across, back to me, back to me, back to me. Good. And let's go again, forward, go, 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 fast as you can. And then to the side, back to me. Driving those arms, even coming backwards. Drive those arms. And one more time, down and back. And then back to me, and we're going to go into our last set, a reverse isolated I. Good, how do you feel, all right?
Good, yeah.
Okay, let's go into the reverse isolated I. Let's make this one a little bit more difficult, so feet together. Okay, just take your time, here we go. You okay? And here we go. Good, so watch that, great. She really grabbed those abs, that was perfect. And we do 12 of these as well. Let's get a little more range of motion, so really push out of that. Good. She's getting more flexible through her shoulder girdle. This exercise is fantastic for increasing flexibility and strength for all those overhead shots. That's a good job. Much, much better through here. So she's getting stronger. She's starting to learn how to stabilize her trunk and hips together. Good, and one more. Great, and let's take a little break. You okay?
Yeah.
Good job. That exercise is fantastic for increasing flexibility and strength through the entire core region. When she lifts her arms, she tends to go into hyperextension of lumbar spine, but she was getting much better towards the end there at stabilizing. So she's strengthening her abs, strengthening her thoracic extensors, because now she's raising her arms from her upper back versus the lower back. Excellent job. So this is a great exercise. Obviously the progressions, this is the easiest. This starts to get more difficult, and this is very difficult to keep those shoulders down. So we're going to go into our regular isolated L exercise now to start to work the external rotators now. Okay, just getting set, get a little more tension on the system, and let's go. Good, and she's using her feet to rock back and forwards. Good. Try not to go into extension here. Use those things you've learned. Great. And let's use those lower traps. Head positioning is great. Don't jut your head too far forward. We're doing 12 of these as well. Good job. Rotating around those elbows. Feel these external rotator cuff muscles back here?
Oh, yeah.
So from the shoulder into the arm, really starting to pull that back. And she'll get a nice stretch through the chest as she does this. She's got 2 more to go, 1 more, and we're going into another quad sprint. Okay, we're doing side to side shuffle. So we're going to take 2 steps this way and reach, back to center, 2 steps this way, reach, come back to center, 2 steps this way, reach, and now you're going to watch me. Let's go to the side and back to center and back and to the side. Good, we're going to speed it up. Good, and go. Good, and back to center. And again, fast as you can. Get those hips down low. Use those glutes. And out to the side. Good. And out to the side. Good. And come back. And out to the side. Good. And again, we're going to do 3 more. And to the side. Good. 1. And to the side. Good. And back. And last one. Good job. She's got her hips nice and low. And come on back. And we're going to do our next set of isolated L. How do you feel?
Good.
Our heart rate's getting up, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Just get yourself set. Make sure you're in a good positioning. Bring the feet forward. We're going to make this a little more difficult. Here we go. Good. This is going to be much more difficult. Drive through the back of those shoulders. That's it. Really lifting the sternum up high. Good. Keep that pelvis posteriorly rotated. Good job. And now her heart rate's high. She's working a lot of muscles. Good. And we're doing 12 of these as well. You okay?
Oh yeah.
Good job. And her head positioning is fantastic. Really starting to strengthen these muscles back here of the posterior shoulder. And we got 2 more. Good. Last one. Keep the tension there. Elbows by the side. Good job. Take a little break. You okay?
Oh yeah.
So we're really getting our heart rate up high. Good job. So our next exercise is we're going to go into the isolated W. This is going to be a little more difficult from the isolated L, as we're going to be a little bit abducted. But we're working the external rotator cuff muscles again. Just making sure you stay posteriorly rotated. This again, as she goes into it, I want to make sure that she doesn't arch this lower back. I want her, she has plenty of extension down here. I want to start to get extension through here. She does a good job of not hyperextending the neck. You'll see a lot of your clients do this. They'll lead through the neck. Make sure they keep this great head positioning. So let's go into our next set. Okay, so this is the isolated W. Let's do the split step to start, and here we go. And rotate. Good. Keep those elbows locked in. Shoulders down a little bit more. Tilt a little bit more through here. Posteriorly tilt. Good job. That's perfect. Keep that tension on the system. Good. Great. That's nice tension on the TRX now. Good. And rotating through here. Good. You got 4 more to go. And really drive. As you start to feel more confident with the technique, start to drive. Good. 2 more. Drive. Good. Last one. And drive through it. And we're into our court sprint. This is a 2 tennis ball drill now. Okay, here we go. We're going to go side to side. Cross on over now. Cross on over. Good. And this side. Good. And cross over. Here we go. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. This is a very demanding exercise, so if you don't feel up to it, just make sure you build into it slowly. Maybe you do this on another day. Grab a friend, help you get a feel for it before you add it into the workout, because this is very demanding. Her heart rate's going up. That having to change direction, getting down for the ball is very difficult. I'm going to speed it up a little bit more. We got 2 to go. Good. Last one. Last one. Good. And come on back to me. Good job. How do you feel? That gets the heart rate up, doesn't it? We're going to do our last set of the isolated W. Let's make this more difficult. So feet forward, arms up. Good. And really start to drive now. As you feel more confident with this exercise, really start to create power through those muscles. Now, this should be difficult. For those of you doing this, this is a difficult exercise. Candace is making this look easy, but this is a very challenging exercise, so you should be feeling this a lot. We're going to do 12. Keep the tension on the system. Great. And we got 2 more. Good. Last one. Shoulders down, and rotate. Good. And we'll take a little break. You feel all right?
Yeah.
That starts to become very challenging, doesn't it? And the further you have your feet forward, the more difficult it is. And Candace just said to me, she feels it right through here. So these are those external rotators. The infraspinatus, which comes from the shoulder to the arm, and the teres minor. So these are working, and that's where she felt it. So we know that she's doing it correctly. She's also going to feel it, obviously, in the rhomboids and the lower traps, because she's using those muscles to help depress the shoulder blade. Great. We're going to go into our next exercise, which is going to be the isolated I. Let's go arms up. Feel all right for this exercise? Okay, and a little posterior tilt, and here we go. And 12. Good. Good. And as you start to feel stronger, really start to drive. Good. Use these muscles, drive, good. And she's not shrugging, she's doing a great job on this. She's using the split step to transfer weight forward to backward, do a little more posterior tilt, good. Don't collapse, that's it. Great, and drive all the way back. Keep tension on the system. That's great technique. Now you got a great feel for it. Feel those shoulders burning?
Yep.
And we're gonna go 12 total, good.
Good.
Last one, good job. Now we're going to one more court sprint, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go service line, jumping side to side. Let's go all the way down, good. Use those arms, drive, all the way, go, good. High and low, good. And back to me, good. This is very demanding. Drive, use those legs, 2 more, 1, good. We're gonna take a little break and we're gonna do it again, okay? I'm gonna give you about a 10-second break. You okay?
Yeah.
Really use those glutes, arms and drive. Okay, one more time, let's go. Good, drive, good, arms, good. Use those legs, glutes, good, good. And back to me, good, back to me, good, 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 good. 2 more, good, good. And let's come over here to isolated eye. That's difficult, yeah. Okay, so let's go into the last isolated eye. Here we go. Feet forward, and let's really drive. Good. And drive up through here, not the lower back. That's it. Stay strong, stay strong. Good. And her heart rate, I can hear it from here, is really high. So putting those court sprints in there is very difficult. So for those of you, maybe you start with 3 court sprints. Don't add all of them on the first workout. Good job. Got 3 more. Stay strong through here. Good. Good. Last one. And drive up. Good job. Perfect. So she's doing an amazing job. She's an advanced athlete and she's making these things look easy. These are difficult exercises. This last exercise though is fantastic for strengthening the rear of the shoulder and really starting to get the spine to extend. A lot of tennis players, when they're down low and go to stand up into extension, they actually extend through here. So you see a lot of tennis players walking around like this because they've tightened their lower back. Me coaching her to get her hips forward and extend through her upper back is really improving her posture and making sure she doesn't get those lower back issues after she's played tennis. Okay, we're going to go into our forehand lunge now. Convert the system for me, will you, into a single handle mode. Great, and here we go. Let's start with the arm forward and drive. Good, let's use the other leg forward, left leg, good. So you always want to have the opposite hand to leg, just as like you're hitting a forehand. Good, and she's driving out with that left leg, watching where the ball comes and hitting forward, just as though she would hit a forehand. Good job. We're going to do 12 on this side, then we're going to go to our backhand lunge. Good, really drive out, tilt that pelvis on the back leg, feel that stretch in the front of the right hip. Good job. 2 more, and drive, much power as you can. Good. 1 more, drive. Let's switch it over. We're going to go straight into the backhand. Good. Feel that heart rate getting up now? Let's stabilize that leg. Make sure your knee doesn't move too much towards the midline of your body. So you really want to use that right glute. Good. And drive out of that. So use that right rear shoulder to drive out of it. Good. Let's go a little bit bigger lunge. Tilt that pelvis on the back, on the rear leg. Good. We're doing 12 on this side. Good. All the way through. Good. Last one and drive up. Let's take a little break. You okay?
All right,
so the heart rate's getting up.
Good.
Feel that around your hips?
Yeah,
So she's and really starting to rotate the trunk, right? So this is fantastic for working the rear of the shoulder, the front of the shoulder on the forehand, really starting to use your obliques, using the glutes to create a good early take back on forehand and backhand. It's a good job, you're doing a great job. So this is mimicking tennis, which is the greatest thing. And the TRX, you can take it to the tennis courts like we have and set it up anywhere. So you can play tennis and then come to the side when you're finished and get a workout, or do it beforehand. Okay, so we're going to do those things again. Both the forehand lunge and the backhand lunge. I want you to be a little more dynamic as we go. Okay, you ready? Okay, and... Okay, let's do 12 from now. Here we go. And let's drive and push it right out of it. Good. That's a very nice deep lunge. Most people at home won't be able to do this lunge so deep. Good. And drive. Good. Perfect. Really driving out. Use those glutes. Push out of it. Using the arms to rotate. Good. How many is that?
10.
Good. 2 more. And drive. It's starting to get demanding. And push. Use your arm to drive. And let's go backhand. Good. Start start to integrate that upper body more with the lower body, because your arms can act as drivers to pull you out, just like in tennis. Okay, let's go into the backhand. And drive, good. And out of it, and drive, use the arm, good. Good. Really using those arms and legs together, coordinating the motion. Great job, keep it going. Nice. You're starting to feel a little more coordination using that upper body and lower body. Good. How many we got left? Good, 3 to go. Keep going, drive it. You got 2 to go, finish strong, good. Last one, and come out of it, good. You got a 45-second break. That is a very demanding exercise, especially going from the forehand to backhand with no rest. So, you feel okay? Heart rate's up, right?
A little bit,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you feel both the front of the shoulder working and the glutes, and on the other side, the same thing happening?
Definitely.
So, it's great for also learning to have an early take back to create trunk rotation. A lot of tennis players don't get a body turn. So the ball comes and they take their arm back. This is really teaching you to rotate the body so you can create power through your hips. There's not much power coming in your arm. You engage those glutes, those abdominals to rotate you, and you're going to get a lot more power. So we're going to go into our next exercise, which is the forehand to overhead smash. Okay, hold on 1 second. Just set up for us. Pull that down by the side. Let's bend those glutes. And here we go. Good. So nice big rotation. Drive those hips to me. So right hip to me. So you get a big stretch to this lateral side of your body. Good. And drive to me. As you feel more confident with that, just add a little more speed. Good. So you reach as far as you can away from me, but I want that hip to drive to me. So you get a big stretch to those lats and obliques and a little bit of that quadratus lumborum on this right side, which lies between the ribs and the hips. Good. Let's do 2 more on that side and then we'll switch it over. That's great coordination. Good. And let's switch to the other side. Good. And slow it first to get a feel for it. So driving the hip away from me and reaching over to me with the arm. And good at foot adjustment. So all these exercises are great for footwork to make sure you coordinate motion between the foot, the knee, the hip complex, all the way up through the spine, through the shoulder girdle. Perfect. We're doing 12 on this side as well. Good, and let's speed up a little bit more so you drive, so create power through the hips and all the way up. Good. Excellent. Let's go all the way to 12 and then we'll take a little break, driving all the way through. Good job. Little faster. Good, and let's take a little break. These are great exercises for teaching the body how to coordinate motion. As you can see, these are full body exercises. She's having to coordinate footwork with knee and hip function all the way through the spine. And you can see she loads on one side as she then unloads and transfers force to the other side, which is exactly how you create power in tennis. So as the ball comes, you load, and to create power, you then have to unload and time it with your hands, which Candace is doing beautifully. So these exercises done correctly are not only help with strength, but with coordination. So let's do it again. Let's speed it up a little bit. And let's really drive it. Hold on 1 second. Get set for this because we're really going to drive it. Keep that arm nice and straight. And let's go for it. Good. And really drive. Push. And let's drive those hips down as low as you can. That's it. You feel that right glute load right there?
Yep.
Good. A little bit more. Drive that right glute. Good. A little bit more. Drive that right glute. Good. Down as low as you can go. That's it. That is perfect. She's getting a lot of hip work here. She's rotating the trunk. She's coordinating that motion beautifully. And we'll do 12 on this and then switch it over. Good, keep the tension on the system and let's switch it over. So we always want tension on the TRX. Let's go. Good, drive those hips down nice and low. Good, let's bend that right hip down a little bit more. Good, a little bit more. So bend, that's it. Good, and bend, good. Feel that right glute kick in more? And right over to me. And let's power out of it, coordinate. I want that arm to be the last motion as a result of the power in that glute. Great job. So that glute gets that arm to me. 2 more, good. 1 more, last one. Good, excellent. Let's take a break. And that time your heart rate went up much higher, didn't it?
Yeah, that was a good one.
And what was fantastic about that, as she started to get better at it, these muscles here produce a lot more power. So the muscles of the glutes, the abdominals, and the rotary muscles of the trunk produce a lot more power than the arms. So what you were doing great was all the power starting to come through the hips, and as a result, this happened faster. And the same thing happens in sport. You don't see many athletes that are good without big butts, abs, because they're strong in these muscles, and these muscles produce the power. Let's go into our low to high volley reach next. So this exercise is going to start to be very demanding. Okay, let's start on our left leg and let's go for it. So down low, up high, good. Down low, up high. So she's alternating from side to side. This is helping her start to reach towards low volleys and then high for high volleys. All the time creating power through the glutes. The great thing that Candace is doing here is she's keeping her trunk upright. When a ball comes to you, you do not want to bend down. You want to bend at the hips so the knees bend. I'm sure you tennis players, if all your coaches have told you, bend the knees, right? And that happens through the glutes. And let's switch sides. Good, and up. Great job. And down, and to me, and down left, away, good. This is perfect what Candace is doing. She is going to have sore glutes tomorrow because she's done such a good job on this workout. She's really bending her hips. For those of you who don't feel you can bend this far, just start off. You've got to coordinate the motion because any sport comes from coordinating motion between lower and upper body, which she's doing a great job of doing. How many is that? 12? Fantastic. And that's tough, but we got another set to go. I'm going to give you a little break of 45 seconds. How's the glutes starting to get tired?
Right on side.
Okay. And you feel your whole body working?
Yeah.
And you can see her heart rate's up, right?
Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah.
And
feel
the
good.
shoulders are recovered from the first exercises?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Feel nice and warm all over.
So Candace is making this look easy. For those of you at home whose heart rate is really high, it's okay. This is a tough workout. You're making it seem very simple. But we're going to go into our next exercise, or the second set of this rather, which is our low to high volley reach again. This time I want you to take that back leg off. It's going to be a lot more challenging, okay? So you're going to have balance and the glutes are going to work harder. When you're ready, I want you to stand on your left leg, okay? And let's start off and let's go. Good. And this is going to be much more difficult. And you can see she's not taking as big a squat, and she won't be able to because there is a lot more load here. Plus, not being able to put that back foot down requires balance. If she needs to spot herself to balance, she's going to do that. But she's doing a good job. Now this is loading the glutes, all the stabilizing muscles that come out of the hip, that cross the knee, all the calves, the perennials, keeping the arch up. And let's switch it over. Good job. Candace is doing a good job here also of making this look easy on the feet because this is a lot of footwork. You feel those muscles, the little intrinsic muscles of the foot, which is very important for tennis to help make sure you create a stable platform when you strike the ball. And we're going for 12 on this side as well. Keep it going, drive it through. Let's go, bend the hips, come on. Finish strong, good. Last one, finish strong, good. One more, go, 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 bend the hips and up. Good job, excellent. And we're gonna take a 45-second break. You okay?
Yeah, feeling good.
How's the legs?
Good.
Getting tired?
Getting tired.
But tennis players have good legs for a reason, right?
Yes.
Because they move in all the time.
Definitely.
No problems, everything feels good?
Feels good.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the next exercise is we're going to go in the forehand to backhand trunk rotation.
Okay.
So this is going to be a lot about coordination. That was more of a strength exercise, requiring a little bit of balance. That's why you felt a lot of the legs working in the glutes. This is going to be about coordinating both strength and flexibility, but a lot of footwork as you transition from one shot to the next.
Okay.
So let's get set up for that. This is obviously still in the single hand mode, and this is the forehand to backhand trunk rotations. Let's not start quite yet.
Okay.
Get set up, make sure we got tension on the TRX. Okay, and when you're ready, let's go for it. And rotate all the way over to backhand. Good, and all the way back. As you can see, she is doing a great job of coordinating foot and arm motion. She's pivoting. That's why it's important to do this on a surface that you can pivot on the foot so that there is great foot motion. And she's creating excellent footwork here. We got 12 total. Keep the tension on the TRX, good. And one more. Great, and let's take a little break. We're gonna take a 45-second break and then we're gonna do that again. You'll see with these exercises, we have strength exercises. That's a flexibility and coordination exercise. We had the footwork drills, which really got your heart rate up. As we go towards the end of this workout, we're going to get your heart rate back up again, because we're going to do some power exercises, which are really going to load the lower body. But you're doing a good job on these, and I really want you to start to speed this up and get that footwork integrated more and more and more. So we're going to do our second set of the forehand to backhand trunk rotation. So let's get set up for that. Now this time what I really want you to think about is integrating some of the early exercises where you're bending the hips and then drive out of it. So use the glutes to drive, use the muscles of the trunk to rotate, and let's go for it. So glutes and trunk, that's it. And rotate, good. And imagine you're hitting the ball each time. Backhand, good. Forehand, that's perfect. Excellent footwork, creating power through the glutes. That is textbook stuff. Great, keep it going all the way through. You got 2 to go, finish strong, last one. Perfect, can't get better than that. That was great. So we're gonna take a little break and then we'll go into our rotating power jump. Now the rotating power jump is gonna be difficult, okay? We're gonna start easy with it and then we're gonna build into it so we really start to load those glutes.
Okay.
Your heart rate's gonna go up because we're gonna be jumping.
Okay.
What you're doing though, great, is you're really coordinating these motions. Those of you at home are going to find this difficult to actually time from here to here. So start slowly and then slowly build up to where you coordinate this into forehand and backhand motion. So let's get set up for our rotating power jump. Let's start easy. So we've got the handles separated. Great, and let's get into the lunge position and you're going to rotate to me and here we go, good. And step a little bit lower, let's start to get those glutes involved. A little slower to start, just to rotate that trunk a little bit more, good. Rotate that trunk, good, that's better. Keep rotating, good. And we're going to do a total of 12, good. Rotate all the way, good. Last one, and let's now do an open face. So when you rotate, rotate away. So rotate to me on that leg now. That's it. And now rotate away. Good. And rotate again. And let's drive the hips down lower and really turn the torso. Drive that belly button away from me when you go to the right. Really rotate. And to me and away from me. Good. Belly button to me, away from me. Good. And take a break. Good job. This exercise is fantastic for good setup. So it is imperative in sport to have an early setup, especially in tennis when there is an external variable coming, which is the tennis ball. So it's important for an early setup. And then rotating the other way is your follow through. So it's creating flexibility, strength, and learning to coordinate so you have a good setup. Sports is all about setup so that you can use your body mechanics appropriately to the power that you have in your hips to be set up to do that. If you don't set up, you can't use the gifts that you have. So let's set up for this next one, and we're going to turn into a jump now, okay? So we're really going to power, and this heart rate's going to go up. So let's hold on 1 second, let's get into the position. Okay, set up, and we're going to start, and let's go. So step and jump, good, good. Drive high as you can, good. And we do 12, good, 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 good. Keep it going, drive, drive, good, beautiful. And let's switch to the other side, so rotate away, and 12, and jump, high as you can, good, good. Good, keep going, the heart rate's going high, but drive through the end, use the glutes, keep going, all the way, 12 total, good job. That's hard work, isn't it? You all right?
That's my favorite one.
Good job. So you feel the legs,
Yeah.
heart rate, and you don't want to talk right now because your heart rate's really high, right?
I can try to.
That was a good job.
Thank you.
No problems though, right?
No. Okay.
For those of you at home, build into that slowly because that is a dynamic exercise. So if you have any knee issues or any hip issues, be careful as you progress into the jumping portion of that. We're now going to go into the power forehand drill. So that one took the heart rate up. We're now going to go into some strengthening exercise. So let's get that TRX to its single handle mode.
What do I do?
And we're going to do the forehand drill, which is down here and rotating up. Start with the foot down, and here we go. And just drive up slow and easy. Really get that glute down, just like you're hitting a forehand. So here comes the tennis ball. Good. So learn to coordinate. So your eyes follow the ball. That is perfect. Great technique. This is much easier than the rotating power jump, isn't it? For the heart rate. But when we take that leg off in a second, she's going to feel those glutes. And she's going to take that all back. Good. So how many is that?
9.
Good. We're going to do 3 more. Keep the tension on the TRX. Good. And you're just following through. Great extension. Good. And then we're going to switch sides, and we're going to do this with the left hand on the left-hand side. And you want to have your right leg forward and step back to me with your left. So right leg forward. That's it. Good job. It's hard when you first do these things to coordinate all these motions. These are complex exercises which require the nervous system and the muscular system to work together. So for those of you who find these difficult at home, they should be. But that is why they are directly related to tennis, because tennis is all about coordinating the nervous system and the muscular system together. Good. Let's take a little break. Now, on the next one, I don't want that back leg to touch the ground.
All right.
So if we're on this side, we're going to squat without this leg touching the ground. We're going to follow through, and we're going to really load this leg.
Okay.
For those of you at home who feel tired, maybe you use the other leg to self-spot yourself. So stay in this position. If you can and you feel confident, then you're going to take the leg off and really drive and load up the leg. Okay, let's go into it.
Okay.
Okay, so standing on the right leg. So what I really want you to focus on this one is bending at this hip. Don't start yet. You're going to bend this, rotate this knee out so you create good alignment in that foot so that foot doesn't pronate too much. Good. And let's go. And drive. Don't touch that back foot down. Good job. Perfect. And as you feel more confident, I want you to squat as low as you can. Don't bend to me. Stay upright with the torso so you feel the glutes. Feel the glutes more when you stay upright. Good. Upright, upright. Keep that chest high to me, sternum high, bending at the hips. Good. You're going to total of 12. Keep bending that hip. Use that glutes. Good. Good. Excellent. I'm going to switch to the other side and we're going to go straight into it. Sorry, you're on your left leg. Yes, perfect. And here we go. And rotate. Good. And squat. Good. And bend those hips. As far as you can, bend the hips. Good. And bend the hips. Good. Low as you can. Use that glute. I want you to propel that left hip through the fence away from us as you create power. Good. All the way through. Keep going. And power through the glutes. All the way through. Good. How many is that?
12.
Good job. Excellent. You feel the glutes?
Yeah.
Good job. So that's our last exercise. We're going to use a cool down in a minute. How do you feel?
I feel good.
How do the legs feel?
Tired.
Okay. I'm going to let your heart rate come down a little bit. Let's convert that system to 2 hands.
Okay.
Then we're going to go into a triplanar hip stretch. No problems?
No, feeling good.
Feel the glutes, the legs, the arms, everything working?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the triplanar hip flexor stretch, which is really going to address the front of those hips, and the hip flexors go from the leg to the spine. So you've been hip flexing all through this workout, so we really want to stretch that out.
Okay.
So let's go into this stretch. So the first one is a sagittal plane. I'm going to have her posteriorly tilt her pelvis with her heel on the ground. She's getting a calf stretch, she's getting a hip flexor stretch, and she's extending the spine. So the hip flexor group comes from the leg to the bottom of the thoracic spine, the lumbar spine. So by extending the spine and posteriorly rotating the pelvis, she's getting a nice stretch in the front of this hip. We're going to hold this for a total of 20 seconds, and let's switch to the other side. Good. And tilt the pelvis right under. Good. Now this hip's going to come forward, so this hip flexor is a little tighter. Good. So you want to tilt right under. Good job. You feel that stretch? This hip flexor is a little tighter, isn't it? Okay. So you want to make sure the hips are level, left to right. Once we've done the sagittal plane, we're going to go into this lateral motion. And let's go into the lateral motion to the side. Good. And tilt the pelvis under and extend the spine. Extend and tilt the pelvis. Get that glute working a little bit more, that right glute. So you really push that hip under. And now you feel that hip flexor stretch. Good. How's your heart rate? Starting to come down?
Yeah.
Okay. By moving the spine away, because the hip flexor on this side attaches to this part of the spine, by laterally side flexing, we stretch it out. Let's switch sides. And come to me. Hips level. Tilt the pelvis under and reach to me. I don't want you to collapse, purely to the lateral side. So as I was saying, this hip flexor, we side flex, we get a nice stretch on this left hand side flexor. 10 more seconds and then we're going to go into a rotary hip flexor stretch, okay? Good. Just lift up. Good. And let's go into our rotary motion, so stretch right across. You may need to step. Let's lift back out of it a little bit. Good. Step forward now. Good, and really push into that hip and rotate. Good, and just tuck this hip back. That's better. Feel that stretch now on the left.
Much better.
So it's going to be difficult. She's tired, so it's hard to stabilize here in these glutes. So she's doing a great job now of tilting under. Okay, we've got a few more seconds, and let's switch to the other side. And rotate. Rotate that way. Good. So we have 3 planes of motion, hence why it's called the triplanar hip flexor stretch. Sagittal, lateral, and transverse, really getting into that hip flexor group. Our next exercise is going to be the chest stretch. Hold that for a few more seconds, and then we're going to go into our chest stretch. Okay, so let's set up for our chest stretch. Okay, and our chest stretch, come on down here. Let's really rotate. So you know all those muscles you use for all the isolated I's, L's, and W's? Use those to rotate that arm back. And just tilt that pelvis under. Now, all those motions where we use the pecs to come across on the forehand, we're now stretching those out. And utilize those muscles that you know to make sure you don't shrug up. And that's a great job. And you feel the hip flexor stretch. Switch legs. And come forward. Good. We're getting a hip flexor stretch on this other side and a calf stretch. Can you align the foot for me? Good. Keep the foot aligned, rotate back, tilt the pelvis. Great job. Her head's in good alignment. She's rotating the shoulders back. She's not in lumbar extension. She's getting a great hip flexor and chest stretch. Let's go into rotating hip and back stretch where you face the TRX. She's going to now sit back into her hips. Just come to me a little bit. Let's come over this way just a little bit and let's sit back. That's it. You're going to rotate this way. So all through this workout, she's been transferring load. Her knee's been going in. Her foot's been pronating. Now we're going to externally rotate the leg. Can you bring the toe up to me? Dorsiflex the foot. She's supinating the foot and externally rotating the leg. This is a great stretch for this deep longitudinal system from the lower back down. Let's switch to the other side. And really rotate these hips. You should really feel that from what you've been doing, because when you go into hip flexion, this tends to happen. So now we're really rotating out of it. And this will help set the hips back so that she doesn't have lower back or excessive glute and lower back tension tomorrow. Our last stretch is going to be the seated figure 4 stretch. So let's go into that to finish. And this is great for the gluteal complex, especially the muscles of the TFL, stretching out some of the IT band. Can you by dorsiflexing this foot here, she's actually bringing this opposite leg towards her, which gives her more of a stretch on this right hand side. And you sit up nice and tall. You feel that all in that right butt and the side of the hip. And sit up nice and tall, shoulders down. We're going to hold this for another 5 seconds and then we'll switch sides. Just a little taller, sit up, sit up, sit up. And let's switch it over to the other side. Let's bring this leg a little closer. Good. Try to lengthen this hip down. Dorsiflex the foot and sit up nice and tall. Shoulders down. And your heart rate's really come back down now.
Yeah.
You're feeling okay around the hips? We're going to hold this for about 10 more seconds. Just sit up nice and tall. Stretching out the glutes. Good. And you can slowly come out of that and stand up. How do you feel?
I feel good.
Everything feels fine? Feel like you had a good workout?
Yeah.
So that was great. That is a very difficult workout. Candace made it look easy. You guys at home, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Hi, my name is Justin Price. I began playing tennis when I was about 5 years old. I progressed through the junior ranks in New Zealand, playing nationally. I then was on a tennis scholarship in Hawaii at the Hawaii Lower College. I then went to do my master's degree, and after that I went on the professional circuit, playing in New Zealand, Australia, around Europe, and finishing in the United States. When I was in Hawaii, my senior year there as a collegiate player, I was player coach, so I had the opportunity to both be a #1 player and be a coach. When I was moved to New Zealand and was pursuing my master's degree, I was the tennis coach of the university there, which gave me a lot of opportunity to both coach and continue playing. When I first used our TRX, I loved it. I'm all about how you can work out or how you can help people with the most minimal equipment possible. I love the TRX because anyone can use it, whether they're at home or traveling. So when I design exercise programs for even my clients, I try to utilize pieces of equipment that they can get easily and that they can use at home, so they don't have any excuses why they can't be doing the exercises that are going to improve their performance. So when I first saw the TRX, I knew that people could use that. I could teach them what exercise to do, and then they would be able to utilize that themselves and get to their goals more easily. I guess you could say that winning the IDEA Personal Trainer of the Year was a great accomplishment, but I get the most satisfaction I get is actually helping clients throughout the day. I get a lot of clients who come into me with pain, whether they be athletes or whether they be people with lower back problems. My most cherished accomplishment is when I help people get to be functional again so they can do the things that they enjoy. I love using the TRX for tennis performance because it helps the person coordinate their own body weight. The TRX is all about learning to coordinate from the foot, through the knee, through the hip, through the rotary muscles of the trunk to create force and transition it through the body using strength moves, using flexibility moves, just as you would on a tennis court. This is the 2-shuffle footwork drill. Sorry, I was going to say this is the low to high volley reach.
This program is designed for trainers and coaches to improve the physical performance of your tennis players.
This is the low to high volley reach.